Are you ready to learn this awesomeness? Get your Post-it notes ready. All right. I got some questions for you. These are questions that I regularly hear from my clients. So I want to know, of these questions, which most resonates with where you are as it relates to this topic. And you're probably like, what topic? What is she talking about? We're talking about using notes when you are going live. Okay, so here are the questions. Are you ready? Get ready to tell me which one resonates most. And if you're watching on replay, hashtag replay, I still want you to play along. Tell me which question resonates most. Okay, number one. How will I remember what I want to talk about? Number two. What if I lose my place when I'm going live? Number three. How do I not sound like a robot when I'm reading my scripts? Did you like my robot imitation? Okay. Number four. What teleprompter do you recommend? Number five. I just wing it when I go live. And so like I'm all over the place. How do I fix that? All right. So which of those five most represents you and where you're at with using notes? You're worried about forgetting what you're going to talk about. You're worried about losing your place. You're worried about reading. Talana. Yes. 1 to 3. Okay, that's fair. You don't have to pick one. You can pick many. That's fair. I love it. I love the honesty. I appreciate it. Okay. You feel like a teleprompter is going to solve all the world's problems, right? Or you're just like, that's too much work. I'm just going to wing it. It might be a nightmare, but it's more natural. Robin, you and Talana are exactly the same. You're cracking me up. Okay. Today, in this training video, we are going to talk about 3 things. We are going to talk about why a script or a teleprompter is a very bad, horrible, terrible, no, just say no. Just say no to teleprompters and throw the scripts in the trash where they belong. So you're going to learn why I say that. You are going to learn a process for how to move from a script where you have everything written out, every single word, to a process because it's going to make all those questions I just asked you so much easier. Okay. And then third, you're going to learn this. My Post-it note model. I'm so excited. I love teaching this because I love Post-it notes. It is an addiction, and I recognize that. And, Robin, you don't help with the addiction by sending me Post-it notes. I have them in all shapes and sizes, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I promise we will get to that. All right. Let us begin with why a script or a teleprompter is a very bad, no good, bad idea. Like Robin says, just say no. Just say no to the script and the teleprompter. Okay. Reason number 1. If you're going to read a script, send it in an email. Save your people the time. They can all read. At least I think so. I'm pretty sure most of them can read. So if you're going to read them a paragraph form of something, it's an email, right? You've all seen those memes where it's like, this meeting could have been an email. Okay, same principle here. If you are reading a script, email it to them. They will thank you, I promise. Because adults in general do not like to be read to. Okay. It's just little kids love to be read to most of the time because you put on the silly voices and you have all sorts of tone and inflection, whatever else. But most of y'all, if you're reading a script, you're not doing that. You are sounding like a robot and you are reading, and they would just rather just email it to me. Let me read it. Okay. All right. Second reason, we want connection, right? We want to feel like you are just talking to me and we're just having a conversation. And if you're like this, okay, so what's really important is that I want you to understand that the next step is to do this. And then after you do that, then the next step, that there's no connection there, right? There's no connection. And we want a connection. We want to look at your beautiful face. We want to make eye contact. And it is next to impossible to be reading a piece of paper and making eye contact with the black hole of death. It's impossible. Okay. So don't try. I'm going to give you, don't worry. I'm going to tell you how to do it. Okay. The next one is that this is not your page, your profile, your group, whatever else, these are not fans of robots. Now, maybe they do the robot dance. No, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. But when you read anything, it's really hard to not sound like a robot and to make it natural. Think about it like this. Professional TV people, okay, we're talking about newscasters, right? And they have teleprompters for sure, but they go to school for that. They go to school to learn how to read a teleprompter, but make it seem like they're not reading a teleprompter. So if you just go out and buy a teleprompter and you are just reading it, unless you are some sort of wow prodigy, and then you should get into TV, it is not going to come across natural. It is going to be, just trust me on this, it's going to be awful. I remember I had to do a video in another woman's program, and there were several videos we had to do, and one of them was scripted, and we had to say it exactly as it was written. And so luckily it was pre-recorded. I don't think I would have ever made it. And so she recommended a teleprompter, which I bought and used, and it was awful because I couldn't be me. I couldn't be authentic. I couldn't add all of the great things that make you into reading a script and making sure that you get every single word exactly precise as they want. Okay? It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. The other thing that I want to talk about, and this is probably more so with script, because the teleprompters of today move as you speak. So it does work pretty well to keep your place. But if you are worried about losing your place, if you have a script and it is, 8-point font and it is 3 pages long in paragraph form, and you lose your place, you are never, ever going to find it again. It is never going to happen. Okay? So do yourself a favor and don't even try. I'm going to give you things that you can do instead. I promise. Okay. Does everyone agree and believe me when I say scripts and teleprompters are terrible, no good, bad, horrible ideas? I'm going to go back to Robin because it was just perfect. Just say no. Just say no to the scripting and the teleprompter. Okay? Now, what do you do instead? If you are somebody that has to script it out to get the idea out of here, right? So that you know what you're going to say. If it's part of your organization process or your planning process, right? It's how you think. I immediately think of Talana because she is a writer. And so my guess is, Talana, you got to write out what you're wanting to say on video. And so typing it out in email is probably a way to get what's in here out. And listen, I used to be the exact same way. It was my creative process, right? I could have all my words and I could edit my words and I could move things around. I do know her very, very well. I love this feature where you can bring in people's comments. It's awesome. Okay. This is StreamYard, by the way. Okay. So what do you do instead? Don't stop that process. If that is your process and you have to script it out in order to get it out, right? And organize it and plan it and all of that, keep doing that. I don't want you to stop that process. What I want you to do is take your script once you have it and convert it into an outline. I know it is exactly opposite of what we learned at school and university, right? You create your outline and then you write your paper based on your outline. I want you to do it the other way around. You know this content. It's in your brain, right? Those of you that have heard me talk about the 10-gallon hat. You have a 10-gallon hat, and if you're not from Texas, you may not know what a 10-gallon hat is. It is the big cowboy hat, right? Think Yellowstone, big hat. You have 10-gallon hat full of information inside that gorgeous brain of yours. You know everything there is to know about your particular zone of genius, right? This is not one of those sci-fi movies where we are just going to do a mind meld and I'm going to just take my 10 gallons and zoom it over to you, right? And you also don't want to do that in a video. They're not tuning in because they want you to tell them every single thing they need to know about X topic. They're tuning in because you have figured out how to take 10 gallons of information and distill it down to only the few tidbits they need to be successful in that space. Okay? So What I want you to realize is that, yes, scripting may be part of your process, but you don't need the script to talk about something that you know in your heart and you know in your head. I promise you, the outline will suffice because you can just look at a particular line item, a particular bullet point, and then go, oh, okay, next I'm talking about ABC. And you know everything there is to know about ABC. So you just talk about ABC. That's how you make it feel like you are conversational, like you are winging it, even though you have a plan. Your plan is just an outline. Okay? All right. Oops. Now, for those of you that are like, but I really want to use a teleprompter. Okay, do not say I did not warn you. If you are going to use a teleprompter, put your bullet points, your outline on the teleprompter, not the script, not the word for word. Okay? Trust me on this. The other thing I want you to think about is that when you have a script, I mentioned this earlier, but you know how I said you can't make eye contact while you're reading? It's kind of like that thing. If you've ever done this, I know it was like a thing when we were kids. Can you pat your head and rub your tummy at the same time? Like it really takes some skill. Like, see, you can't do it. You can't do this. And it's really hard, right? It is really hard to read a script while making contact with this black hole, right? In the camera lens. Super hard. So give yourself a break and do it different. Now, I purposely overdid this at the beginning of this video so you could see how it works. I paused longer than I normally would, and I don't know if you picked up on it or saw it or not, but I'm going to illustrate it again. What you want to do is when you are looking at your notes, so remember, we've now said no more scripts. We've said no to scripts. We only have bullet points. When you are looking at your bullet points, stop talking. No more talking. Okay? It takes a little work, kind of like this action, right? But stop talking, look at the bullet, look back at the camera, resume talking. Let me show you what it looks like, okay? I'm going to just go back through the same questions I did at the beginning just to re-illustrate what this looks like. So I'm looking at the camera and I'm going to say, okay, I have a question for everybody. Question number 1 is this. I look at my notes. I look back at the camera. How do I remember what I want to talk about? Question number 2. Stop talking. Look at my notes. Look back at the camera. What if I lose my place and I don't know what I'm saying? Question number 3. Stop talking. Look at my notes. How do I use a script? And so on and so forth. Okay. It takes some work. I very much recommend that you do this not on camera the first few times because it takes some practice. Okay. Now, I'm looking up because I wanted you to see my head move to my script. I like hanging my script right by my camera. I either put it on my laptop below the camera or I hang it on my window right behind the camera. Either works. Okay. It's whatever is more comfortable for you. For me, that's better than looking down at the desk because I don't really want people to see that I might be losing my hair or I might have bobby pins. Like, that's not a good look, right? This is a much better look than this. Okay. But if you have to, that's fine. It would just be more like this. Okay. Question number 1. Blah, 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 blah. Question number 2. Blah, 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 blah. Now, the nice thing about doing it that way is if you can use your finger and you can leave it where you are. So if you're really worried about, I'm going to lose my place. Okay. So I'm looking at point 1 and then I'm going to talk about point 1, but I leave my finger there. I don't move it. It's like it's permanently stuck with glue. And then when I look down again, I can move my finger down to the next one, look back at the camera and talk about it. Okay. So the bullet points are reminders to yourself of what you want to talk about next. And now I know the question is out there because it always comes up, but I've worked so hard on my script to get the wording exactly right and precise and all of those details. Okay. My first comment is you're probably spending way too much time preparing for this, but if that is your process, great. Give yourself a break. Your audience would rather have you just talk from the heart and talk from here and be conversational than get the words precisely right. They don't know what you had planned for precision. If you need precision, you know what I'm going to say here, right? If you need precision, email it. Email it. Now, the other thing you can do now, because oftentimes the pushback that I'll get is, but what if it's like important that I get it right because it is some sort of clarification or some legalese, or maybe it's a piece of data and I can't just, what if I don't remember it exactly? That's different. That's not scripting. That's a piece of data that you want to make sure you get exactly right. And so what that might look like is this, okay? Again, with the Post-it notes. I will write those on a Post-it note and I'll use it as a prop. And I'll be like, okay, I've got some data that I want to share. I want to make sure I get this right. So I got a note here. It doesn't have to be a Post-it note. It can be any kind of note, right? I've got a note here. Let me make sure I get this right. Okay, 1 out of 8 people, that's the data. 1 out of 8, or I'm making this up, right? Use that as a prompt. Don't try to hide the fact that you're reading it. Put it into your video, right? It's, oh, okay, I got this, right? I got my little note here. See my note? I've even shown the note. You guys have seen my videos where I have done notes before. Okay, I am totally distracted. Oh my gosh, Ed Pascal, what the heck are you doing in here? Hi. Sorry, everybody. You know I normally don't do that, but I have not talked to Ed in forever. Ah, Ed. I got to show you all. Ed and I worked together how many years ago? I don't know. And for him to pop on here, you just made my day, Ed. You made my day. Okay. All right. What questions do you have? Because we're about to get into the beauty of, oops, I'm upside down, the Post-it note model. So what questions do you have about why a script or teleprompter is a very, very, very bad idea, and I do not recommend it? Or the model that I've talked about, where I've talked about script it out, convert it to bullets, use your bullets to talk to. Okay. If you have questions, drop them below, and we'll come back to them. But I am going to, since I do not see questions, I'm going to go ahead and move on into the Post-it note model. As I said earlier, I know that I have a problem. I understand that my Post-it note addiction is out of control, but there are far worse things to be addicted to. So give me a break on this. I have them in all shapes and sizes, from full sheets to these little bitty ones, to these like half sheets, to the regular size ones, right? So, and I have them in all different colors because why not? But what I have found is that this size and this size work great. Well, let me give you a different color so you can see this better. These sizes work great for what I'm about to describe versus the full-size Post-it. So see this? See the difference? Okay. There's also another size. These are the ones Robin sent me. They're very similar in size. Let me just hold these up compared to the regular size one. Okay. So go buy stock in Post-it, because Post-it is about to blow up because all of you are going to start using this, right? Maybe I should have bought stock in Post-it. It's 3M, I think, actually, right? Isn't 3M make Post-it? Ed would probably know. Okay, so if you are new to my world, welcome. It's great to meet you. But you have heard me talk about the 3-step model, which is great for quick videos. If you're just going to grab your phone and you're going to do just a quick live, right? It's a 3-part model. It's hook, story, call to action, right? And just to do this quickly, because there could be some of you on here that have never gone through a challenge or never heard this model before. The first thing you want to do is hook your audience and pull them in. Grab their attention and say, you want to listen to me. Best way to do that is to ask a question that they might be thinking, and then whatever your video is about answers that question. Second part is the story. We love stories. People love stories. It's engaging. It's fun. It's why people will tune in. And it doesn't have to be like a fairy tale. It can be a story about something in your business. It could be a story about a success you have with your client. It might not even be a story. It could just be a valuable piece of content that you're teaching inside that quick live. And I'm talking about a live that's, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 minutes long. Okay. All right. Hook, ask a question, story, entertain me. And 3 is a call to action. You want to end with some sort of action that they take. And a calls to action should be mixed up. You want to do lots of different things. It can be as simple as drop your questions below. If you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're interested in this, give me a big red heart. Whatever. It doesn't have to be complex. And you don't want every single call to action to be buy my program. Give me your money. right? You want to mix it up a little bit. So hook, story, call to action. So what you're going to do with your Post-it notes, and this is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I've got it on a clipboard so it's easier to hold up. Of course, I color code the Post-it notes. This is my hook notes. So these are my notes that my bullet points that I'm going to use for whatever my hook is in the video that I'm going to do. This middle part, this is the story that I'm going to tell, or the points that I'm trying to make. And I put them on bullet points. Now, one tip for you, what I try to do is align in columns. So if this particular video is something where I'm talking about two things, then here are my two things, and then I have two subpoints. On this one, I only have one subpoint. And then the blue ones are how I'm going to close or wrap up or, end with my call to action. Okay. Now, this does a couple of things. For those of you that I immediately think of Talana here, want to script it out so you can move things around. Guess what? Post-it notes you can move around, right? So if I plan all of this out, and as I'm practicing it, this literally just happened on a group coaching call for me the other day. And I'm like, wait a minute. That doesn't work. That little guy, he needs to come over here. And I need a new little guy over here. You can move Post-its around as you're practicing. Now, I know it throws off the color coding. If you're super anal, like I am, I would probably change that and rewrite it so it's yellow. But you get the gist, right? The other thing, it helps for those of you that are like, but what if I get lost in the middle of my talk? Well, now I have color coding. Am I talking about my hook? Then I know I'm here. Am I talking about my story? Then I know I'm here. Am I at the end? Am I closing things out? Then I know I'm here. If you do it in columns, you can also keep track of what point. If there are 2 points in my video, where am I at? I'm here. Oh, yeah. I can much more easily find my place than just a bulleted list of an outline. Okay. Now, what you also may be thinking is, but Jamie, if I use this and I'm going live on this, how does this work? Okay, a couple answers for you. One, my guess is if you're using your phone, you're probably not sitting at your desk, right? You're in your car, you're standing up, you're in your kitchen, you're on your patio, you're walking around. Well, this won't work if you're walking around the woods. But if you've got the ability to just take this with some tape and tape it to the wall, tape it to the window, tape it to the fridge, tape it to wherever you're going to stand in front of. I highly recommend windows because it's the best light there is. Tape this on the window, and then your camera. So let's say this is your tape to your window. Your camera is here. I can see my notes behind the camera. Okay. Now, most of the time, when you are just using your phone, it's probably not as much of a well thought out, organized talk, right? You might just be covering 3 or 4 points. Grab these little doohickeys, clean your phone first, because if your phone has oil from your face, they don't stick. I know this because I have had all sorts of Post-it notes stuck to my phone, and in the middle of a live, they fall off. Okay, so clean your phone with some alcohol, not rum, but cleaning wipes. And then use these small ones as little tags. Okay, so let me just do a couple here. Well, Otis wants to make sure you're all awake and paying attention to this live. Hold on, I gotta yell at the dog. No, you can have vodka. That's all right, Robin. Vodka's acceptable. I need vodka right now with the dog barking. With you and all of your 20-some kids, you probably need it too. Okay, hold on. Okay. So now I have my Post-it notes on my phone. Point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, whatever you make it. You can get these. You can get these in other colors too. Otis definitely feels left out of the action. Listen, you guys, I got a new washing machine yesterday, and they were in here for, I don't know why it took so long to get a new washing machine, but he's seriously upset. You use Listerine to clean your phone? Or you use Listerine to stop the dog from barking? I need to know. Okay. So you're going live and you just put your Post-it notes on there. Use different colors if you want to, copy the same kind of thing. Okay. The nice thing about this with your phone, oh my gosh. So embarrassing. I had to yell at a dog on live television. Okay. What was my point? Oh, to clean your phone. Interesting. Listerine cleans and disinfects a phone. I had no idea. Look at that. I love that we're sharing all of this. Okay. So color code Post-it notes here. The nice thing about this is while you're talking, easy to keep track of where you're at with your points. They easily pull off. It's a little bit, you got to watch this, right? If you're doing it on screen, you don't want to be like on camera, right? So you kind of got to go around and pull it off so that it's not, and don't like crank your neck, right? But you don't want to look like you're pulling the little tabs off. Okay. But it's a great technique. Okay. All right. What questions do you have about the Post-it note model? Whether it's on a computer or on a phone, either way. Typically what I will say is that if I'm just using my phone to go live, I try to keep my points pretty short. So I wouldn't want to have 27 Post-it notes all the way around my phone, right? That although you could, there's nothing that says you couldn't, right? But typically if I'm just talking on my phone, I'm probably not covering a lot of content and a lot of bullet points. I might only be covering 2 or 3 things in that short of a video. And so I only have 2 or 3 Post-it notes. And then you can even use the bigger ones if you want to, right? Or again, if you're going deeper or longer, take this, do this route, put it on the window or on the wall so that, you've got it in front of you. Okay. Okay. I don't know which Facebook user this is, but thank you. I appreciate that. Genius information. Listen, I really should have truly invested in 3M stock because Post-it notes are the answer to everything. The answer to everything. All right. Let me see if we got any questions. I do too, Robin. I mean, it's so cute, right? And again, you can color code them. And when you buy these, you can get a ton of these in like this little packet. And then you just throw them away. The other thing you can do, okay, another tip. Robin made me think of it. Okay, let's say you prepare this talk, right? But this is something that you do regularly. Like maybe this is the talk that you give when you go and you do like a guest interview in somebody else's group. Or maybe it's something that you do as part of your course or your membership or ongoing group coaching or whatever your space is. You can take these and fold them up. Okay, fold them up. Okay, I can't do it on camera. Trust me that I'm folding this like a letter, okay? Like a letter. I tuck these things if they hang off. There's no rule that says the Post-it notes must be within the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So mine hang off all the time. Okay. Then you get your stapler. Staple, staple, staple so you don't lose Post-it notes because they aren't sticky forever. Write on this. Right? And say, guest interview. And this is the topic that I'm covering here is notes. And then file this away. And then the next time you get asked to be on a guest show and you think, what could I talk about? Oh, I could do my notes thing. You pull this out. It's already done for you. Okay. I used to get really crazy creative and I would like laminate these or I'd put them in those clear sheet protectors. And then I had a binder, but we're busy people and who's got time for that? So I staple them and I shove them in different folders that are organized by different like topics and things that I do. So when I do like group coaching calls, they have themes, but I'm doing that because my group coaching program is the same and it repeats every 8-12 weeks. Then I have all my stuff. Now I still make adjustments because I might, say, you know what, that part didn't work. And we'll pull that off and do something else. But it's really cool. Another quick tip that I'll give you while I'm waiting on questions, and then I'll wrap us up here because I know we're at 30, is if you use this size Post-it note, let's say, and you are practicing and Okay, let me sidetrack here. If you've, one of the things that I talk about is that when you practice, when you're practicing before you do a live, that you should practice until it's smooth. So think about a duck floating on the water, right? Even though those little feet under the water are going 100 miles an hour, the duck is smooth, right? So your heart may be pounding. You may be like, oh my God, right? Thinking about this, but you want to portray that you got this, right? It's smooth sailing. So when you practice this, you want to practice it until there aren't any bumps. So let's say you're practicing this and you're like, I get stuck on this Post-it note every stinking time. Grab a little small one, stick it in here, right? Where are you getting stuck? Do you need a word or a small phrase to remind you of what you were going to say? Because maybe your bullet isn't enough and you get stuck there. And so maybe you just need like something that says pink rhinoceros. Oh yeah, pink rhinoceros. That's right. I know what I'm talking about here. Okay. These little ones have saved my behind several times when I get stuck in places. Okay. All right. All right. I do not see any more questions. So I absolutely love it. I'm going to wrap us up. So first of all, let me do a very quick review. Okay. Number 1, say no to the teleprompter. Script goes in the trash. Never, ever, never, ever. Promise. Okay. It is very hard for anybody to do it well and come across conversationally. And who has time to go to school and learn all that anyway when I've got this new method and it just works as easy. Number 2, if you got to script it out, which is great, bullet points. Go from script to outline and then talk to your outline. And remember, no talking when you're looking at your notes. Stop talking. Be okay with silence. That does take a little bit of practice. I know it. And then the last thing is go buy stock in 3M. No, use your Post-it notes. It is the best, easiest, quickest way. And I mean, how fun is this? Right? I'm a big believer that work should be fun. And if this brings you joy like it brings me joy, that's going to show up on camera, right? You're going to be happy to talk about this because of all the colors. I don't know. It makes me happy. Hopefully it makes you happy too. Okay. Now, a couple of next steps. For those of you that tune in regularly to this training, I do a training every Thursday. Next week, Thursday, is Thanksgiving in the US. So guess what? You won't see me next week on Thursday, but that's okay. Hopefully you are enjoying your own Thanksgiving. And those of you that are in other countries, you'll just have to live without us for a week. Okay. Also, the timing is changing for those Thursday trainings. So normally this was on Thursday. And I know Ed's probably going, wait a minute, but today is Friday. Yeah. I had a washing machine repairman in my house Thursday, and you heard what Otis does. So it was not going to happen yesterday. So I went live today. I am moving the regular time to earlier in the day. For folks like Talana, who I know is in South Africa, we got a lot of folks in Europe and other countries, and it's way too late for them to tune in live. So we're going to pull it back 2 hours. So going forward, this weekly training will be Thursdays at noon Central. And if you are not in my free Facebook group, I'd love to have you come over and join us there. I always post what we're talking about. And I probably, now that I see Ed here from LinkedIn, I probably need to do a better job on LinkedIn. So that's a good call out for me. Okay. One last thing that I want to touch on, and this is the call to action for you. Just like today, this video was inspired because you all were asking me questions. How do I remember what I want to talk about? What if I lose my place? How do I use a script? What teleprompter do I buy? What if I'm just winging it and I'm all over the place, right? Your questions, not only am I going to help you, and you can always message me and say, hey, how do I do this? But it inspires the content that I do on these Thursday trainings. And it inspires me so much that I'm going to do something fun for the holidays. So for the month of December, and I know not everybody is into Christmas, but I love Christmas. And so I'm going for it. Every day in December, I can't believe I'm even putting this out here that I'm going to do this. I'm going to go live every day in December. It's going to be like the 25 days of Christmas. And every day I'm going to give you a new tip on something else. I can't believe I'm going to do it. But I want you to help me. Okay. I can come up with a list of 25 things to talk about, but I'd really love it if you guys would help me put that list together. What are the questions that you all have that you want to learn something about? And I will put it into one of those 25 days. Maybe. I mean, who knows? I might get 3,000 questions and I can't fit all of those into 25 days, but they will definitely inspire me. Okay. So your call to action today is, if you're sitting there going, boy, this was really a good training. I really learned a lot. What else do I want to know from her? Message me, email me, send smoke signals, whatever it takes. Get me the communication, get me the idea, and I will put together a list of 25 topics and we will do them one a day, counting down to Christmas. That is my holiday gift to all of you. Okay? All right. I just want to end with this, and it's probably especially because here in the US, we're getting ready to go into Thanksgiving. And I just want you to know that I'm especially grateful for all of you for being here, for showing up, for asking questions, for being willing to put up with my craziness on my Post-it notes and whatever else, but being willing to try new things, because I get going live is hard, right? The very first time I ever went live, I went and hid in my bed for 2 hours afterwards. And I vowed I will never do that again. And I will help as many people as I can never feel that way. I don't want you dreading, avoiding, or hiding from the camera, because you can love the camera. And that's what I'm here for. I am all about getting you on camera. All right, everybody. For those of you in the US, have a wonderful Thanksgiving next week. I am thankful and grateful that all of you are here, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye, everybody.